I don't know where
Live. Hey, hey,
I'm live. Our
hey.
music isn't playing.
Where's the
We don't have
music?
our music. Oh, there we go.
Okay, I see you on Facebook. So, let's get this party started, sis.
Yes, yes, yes. I see that we
Party
are live.
started. We got so much to talk about today.
Wow, it's been quite the week in sports, hasn't it?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But before we get into that, welcome everybody to Hits and Heels, season 2 underway. This is episode 2 already. I feel like it's going by faster than the first season already. That first week flew by, so I'm excited though. This is season 2, episode 2, but it's episode 12 overall. It's crazy. We've been at this for 3 months. That's crazy. But we're excited. So we want to thank everybody for joining us. I'm your girl, Dani. That's my girl, Coach Terry. And we're the dynamic duo of Hits and Heels, where we are empowering women in sports. And we are creating a community, conversations, and a platform to help women learn about sports and get involved in athletics. So we're excited to be here. Make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel, like our Facebook page, follow us on Instagram. And like I said, make sure you subscribe on YouTube so that we can get our followers up and make it easier for you all to find us. So that's it. Terry, what's going on, sis?
Girl, what's up? What's up? What's up? We got so much. There's just so much that I talk about. I be wanting to call you during the week, but then I'm like, let me just wait so I can save it for the podcast. Because you know what we do?
Mhm.
We just wait and then we have our conversation. So basically, our podcast is just the conversation that Dani and I just have about just different sports topics and stuff that we encounter during the week. And and so today, I always have a theme every week. So my theme in my Kentucky gear today is because tomorrow is signing day for my baby. So tomorrow we
Yay!
make it official where he will become an actual University of Kentucky football player tomorrow. He starts. Uh, he uh, goes to school on January the 3rd. I guess classes start on January the 7th, and I'm not sure when his first football practice is. But oh my God, we're absolutely fantastically just excited. This past Monday, we went and accepted his Paul Hornig Award for Player of the Year. We're still waiting on Mr. Kentucky Football, and we're still waiting on the Gatorade Player of the Year. Not sure if he'll get those, but we're still praying that maybe one of those will come through for him. But he had just an exemplary, extraordinary high school career. I just I don't know how much better it could. Well, it could have gotten better. So those are some of the topics that we'll talk about on how it could have been better. I want to talk about several things I want to talk about, sis. So take a note. I want to talk about so. I want to remind everybody that I am a real football coach. I do coach middle school football at Crawford Middle School in Lexington, Kentucky. but I am also a football coach for a professional female women's tackle football team, the only one in the state of Kentucky, the Derby City Dynamite, and I'm so excited about that. I am the assistant offensive coordinator. I also coach the running backs, and I also coach special teams, kickoff and kickoff return. And so I'm excited about that. And our season will start in the spring. So we'll keep you posted with that. But okay, so I want to talk about the Mississippi State coach, Mike Leach, passing away. That was huge. Sad. He was only 61. Sis, I want to talk about how about the Texas coach choking his wife, a domestic violence
Crazy.
situation. Okay. I want to talk about the women's, I guess there's a women's soccer league, professional women's soccer league, and the abuse and allegations and stuff that were coming up on that. You might want to look that up too. There are just some crazy allegations that are coming up from coaches and with about abuse and
Mm-hmm.
just how they're just being mistreated and stuff like that. And in women's sports, but that's something that's not uncommon. We dealt with that, I think, with the gymnastics in Michigan.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure that's not the only time. It's just that these women get into these positions where they feel like they can't say anything, or they're silenced because they're being put in situations where they don't want to say anything because they don't want to lose their position, or they don't want to miss out on the opportunity that they have to do something that they enjoy doing. Um, I want to talk, and I know it's not sports related, but what's up with Twitch killing himself? Like the level of, this is the time of the year where, people are really going through some things during this time of the year. And people need to make sure that if you are hurting or you got something going on, you got to please, please, please reach out to somebody and talk to them. We don't want to lose people because because of suicide. Okay.
Right.
So those are lots of topics that we're going to talk about. So just sis, where you want to start, where you want to start is so much.
Look. I'm the keeper of topics.
Man.
I want to start with you. Let's start with you. Let's start with Coach Terri, and what it's like being the only Black woman coaching at the middle school level in Kentucky. And I think this is a great point, a great topic, a great space to offer not just words of wisdom, but encouragement, because, like you said, there's so much going on, right? And this is kind of like a roundabout way of bringing the topic up. But when we look at somebody like Twitch, who appears to be very happy, very outgoing, he's obviously a creative, and there's plenty of research out there about how creatives often struggle. They have a higher rate of depression, um, suicide, um, and other mental health issues. And so, how can we take people? And let me say this: it's no one's fault. It's absolutely no one's fault. I do believe that we have this cliche, where we say, check on your strong friend. So if you're a strong friend and you have people checking on you, um, you have to be willing to be open
And
about what
vulnerable.
you're dealing with, because many people don't know.
Yeah.
And if you're a creative, if you are someone that is very ambitious and driven, a lot of times you're also very good at masking what you're going through and masking what you're feeling. And so you don't really know what someone is dealing with. And that's why you'll hear a lot of people say, well, everything seemed fine. We didn't have any signs until maybe the day of. I'm not going to speak on Twitch's situation because I'm seeing reports that I just haven't had enough time to dig into today. But something about he left and he died by suicide at the hospital, and there's just a lot of weird stuff and stuff that doesn't necessarily add up. So I'm not quite sure um, where to begin on that. It's troubling, you know, hearing that his wife went to the police station and, um, said that something about he didn't take his car or something. So
Yeah,
there's
he
there's a
just
lot
left the house without taking his car, which was unusual. And he
right,
was gone for a long period of time. So she thought
right.
something had, again, like maybe someone else that did something, like he just took a walk or something and just, yeah. But it was, I guess, a
So,
hotel that was in walking distance from the house. And he
mm,
checked into the hotel, and I guess he went to the bathroom and shot himself in the bathroom.
oh, okay. See, and again, I've honestly kind of not really read a lot about it today.
Yeah,
Um,
that was a lot.
when I heard the news, I just felt, I don't know. I don't really have the words for it tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, things like that are tough because, like you said, statistically, this time of the year during the holidays is when you really, really do see a large amount of suicides. People
Yeah.
are, the holidays is not a good thing for people. I don't like the holidays. You know, um, I'm not sure why. It's just stressful. you know, um, I made a comment to my daughter. I was like, how important is it to put up holiday decorations? Because it is just so stressful putting it all up and then having to get
Mhm.
taken all down. And I'm really not into the whole commercialism of the holiday. We've
Right.
gone away from what what the purpose of. Then you got people that are saying, well, that's not really Jesus's birthday anyway. And that's, I mean, if you read the Bible and you kind of look at the history of like when John the Baptist was born and when they was born, I mean, when you really look at it, it does kind of fall into place to where this is around the time when he was born. But it doesn't matter. This is the day that was set up, and I don't care if he was born in July. Okay, the purpose of this holiday is to remember the birth of Christ, if that's what you believe.
Yes.
And so it's gotten so commercialized that I just don't, I don't want to spend a whole lot of money, and I don't want to get into all that, or I don't want to
Yeah,
feel
absolutely.
obligated that I have to. And then if you don't feel obligated, I don't want my children feeling some type of way because I didn't buy them gifts, or my family feeling some type of way because I didn't buy them gifts, right? When I do for y'all all year round, right? And so if people feel like that, then it becomes stressful, and it becomes, something that's not enjoyable, and then if you're a type of person that don't have the money and maybe you feel bad that you can't do that, that can really, really just take your mentals to a whole nother level, because now you're feeling guilty, or you're feeling, again, it becomes so stressful, and you just some people just can't handle it, right? um or it just reminds you of your family members that you've lost,
Right.
um or not, or the families that you walked away from, and you just can't be around them, that could be stressful for people. But so the holidays can be um an enjoyment for some people, But I think for the majority of people, it's stressful.
It can be, and I think you're absolutely right. A lot of times when we take the focus off of what it's supposed to mean, you know, um, it does cause a lot of stress, and um, it can it can also cause grief. People have, I know a lot of times, seasonal depression, um, seasonal grief, where it's something reminds them of this situation or that situation. Um, you may hear a Christmas song, you may hear, you know, something, right? And then something triggers
And it triggers.
memories,
Mm-hmm.
and you end up feeling, um, you have not necessarily negative emotions, but it does kind of, it can be solemn. Um, but I think also we have just overly commercialized everything. I mean, we literally have commercialized everything. I mean, from Halloween to Christmas, Thanksgiving, which I don't know. it's just it's just too much. It's too much.
It's a lot. It's a lot, right? It's a
I
lot.
have an issue with Thanksgiving, just due to the fact that how you discover something that somebody's already living on, you know. But I think that, our family has always made Thanksgiving not about that, but about us, about family, about the things that God has blessed us with and what He's doing in our lives. And it is definitely not about 1892 when Christopher Columbus sailed
Absolutely.
the
It
ocean blue.
absolutely is not. It absolutely is not.
Oh my
Right. I
gosh.
don't care about no pilgrims and none. I don't care about none of that. Let's be absolutely clear about that, right?
Yes,
And so,
correct.
and again, Thanksgiving is one of those things where you're like, okay, y'all give us a national holiday. You give us, a 4-day weekend most of the time. So you may as well take advantage of it. It's kind of how I
Mhm.
look at it. Let's get together as a family.
Yeah,
Um,
but we've commercialized it because,
yeah,
right, literally the day after it
it's Black
is
Friday.
Black Friday. Like, let's go
Now everybody go spend all
pummel
your
each
money.
other and
The biggest
blow
shopping
all of
day
our
of the
money.
year.
Yeah, take out loans and
Yeah.
why? Why are
You
you
know,
doing that?
yeah, I remember, and I've been there. I've ran up my credit cards. I've been Black Friday shop. I went one time. Never, ever, ever, ever. I said
Again.
never, ever, ever, ever again. I remember working when I was working retail. I had to work a Black Friday, and I had to do the cleanup. I was like the evening shift, and I was like, oh my God, this is ridiculous.
It
Having
is.
to come in and clean that mess up. It was ridiculous,
It
And
is
so,
ridiculous.
I was just so glad I got out of that and got away from that because it was stressful. I'm talking about people fighting over materialistic stuff and being, first you were just giving thanks the day before. You're giving
Listen,
thanks the day before, and then now you're fighting and arguing and being rude and just,
and
oh
sometimes
my God,
killing each other.
and sometimes killing each other. Yeah,
It's
over a TV. Come on, that's ridiculous,
a
right?
TV that you don't need, that you already have 12 in your house.
Right.
Go sit
Let's
down.
go. Right. Right. Right.
So
And so
anyway,
anyway, that's definitely something that um I don't know. I Anybody that I don't knock anybody that does whatever they want to do. I know when children are young, it is so fun wrapping gifts and having them think Santa Claus exists and all that type of stuff is cute. Then when they get to a certain age, you enlighten them and you tell them the truth. But it's still fun when when the children are young. When they're older, it's just not that big of a deal anymore.
right.
You love having them home for the holiday, and we like to watch. I know there's usually basketball or There's always basketball, I think, and football or something. I mean, that's the
Basketball,
only thing,
football.
yeah, all day. So that's all I look forward to.
That's
Just like
it. I mean,
Thanksgiving, just like Thanksgiving, I look for, because my Cowboys are going to play every Thanksgiving. So
yes.
every Thanksgiving, I'm looking forward to the 3 games that are going to come on Thanksgiving that I get to spend. I get to watch. It's like a Sunday. I get to sit up. I'm off work during the week, and I get to eat and then watch football all day. I
Right.
mean, it just does not get better than that, right? And that's what I look forward to. And that's the kind of thing with Christmas. I look forward to not having to go to work, and I look forward to just laying around, chilling, and
Mhm.
watching football or basketball all day on Christmas Day. But if you're not into sports, I mean, I guess there's Christmas, Christmas or holiday.
I mean, they always have like
Or there's
the
always,
the
something else
movies that you
on,
can binge, the
or you can
movies
find
you
some.
can binge
I
watch
don't
and
have
all
a
of that.
Netflix. Yeah, I don't watch Netflix. I don't have time to do all that. But I'm pretty sure you can go find something on Netflix or whatever that everybody else do if you're not into sports. So
Yep.
there's always something. Absolutely.
Yes. All right. So, Mike Leach.
How about I did not know he coached here at Kentucky.
You know what? I had forgotten it. I remember that, but it's like when I was reading through his accolades and all of that, and he's like one of those quiet champions of football. Like you don't really realize how great of a coach he was until you look at his coaching history and you realize he was at all of these different schools, had an amazing record. He is well respected on all levels of coaching. He was very much the a football genius, um, and it's just shocking to
Oh, it
know
is
that
because it could happen to any coach.
yes. And when we talk about
It's
stress,
stressful. It's stressful.
coaching is stressful.
Stressful.
And you look at the time of the year when all the bowl games are happening, right?
Yes.
It's,
So now you're
all the
navigating through all the
championships are
bowl
going
games.
on
Yes.
during
And
Thanksgiving.
trying to deal with your family. Yeah.
Yeah, all the championship
And the
games are
recruiting.
around Thanksgiving. Then you move into Christmas where it's bowl season, New Year's, it's bowl season. And then you have like just a few weeks off. And you're by March, you're prepping for spring ball.
Mm-hmm.
And then like you said,
You
there's
still have to recruit during
recruiting.
this whole process. You got people entering the transfer portal,
Yes.
and so yes. Oh my God. I just can't imagine. I mean,
Yeah.
everybody was like, Terry, would you like to coach on the next level? Hell no. You know what I mean?
It's a lot.
I mean, it's good money. I think the one they just extended the contract for one of the coaches here in Kentucky, and I think he's making $325,000 a year. And then the next following year, he'll be making like 375. That's good money. But the
Mhm.
sacrifices and the stuff, but you're getting paid what you're worth because you got to do some things. The recruiting process, you're always away from home.
Yep.
I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot on a coach.
Yep.
It's
And
very
the
stressful.
crazy thing is, like Mike Leach, he just started at Mississippi State 2 years ago. He was going. It was like January 2020, right?
Right.
Is it January? I think it was January 2020. That he was named Mississippi State's head coach. But so he wasn't even there that long. But again, the impact that he had on the game over the course of his coaching career is pretty amazing. I mean, he had more than 20 years coaching as a head coach, I think. So that's not even including
As
his
an
time
assistant,
as
yeah.
an assistant. Um, but again, when you talk about um, his impact, he won close to 60% of his games as a head coach. But he's very well known and respected for his football genius. His level of not just understanding of the game, but also of his players. And so that's a huge loss.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's a huge loss for the
Oh,
football
huge,
community
huge.
and for athletics,
Period.
period. Um, whew. And then Paul Silas passed away.
Oh
We
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
His son is the coach for the Suns.
yep. Paul Silas passed away, and I remember him from he was actually LeBron James's first coach for the Cleveland
Mm,
Cavaliers. So, when you see these giants in the industry passing away, and it's just like it really does make you stop, or it should, and think about life, um, really how we treat each other. Life is short, life is precious, and um, you know, we really should not be um, in situations where people are being mistreated for any reason,
absolutely.
for any reason at
I
all.
had saw a remix or a replay of when I think 2 days after Shaq and his crew had found out that Kobe had passed away. And Shaq had just lost his sister. And he was like, y'all, we got to get it together. He's like, I got to call more.
Right.
We got to communicate more with the people that we love and not take them for granted, because you just don't never know the day or the hour. Um, and we just, we just can't take it for granted. I mean, we just really, really can't take it for granted. I've been trying to really be, now that football season is over with, I've been trying to be more intentional with reaching out to some of my friends to, meet them for dinner and for lunch and stuff like
Hmm.
that, so we can get caught up, just for that particular situation. I just don't want
Right.
to take their friendships and stuff for granted, because I don't see them or because I'm too busy
Yeah.
to make the time for them. Um, but the people that are, that are really whose relationship that I really, really um, um, respect the most, I'm totally just intentional. Like I'll be off, I think next week or whatever. So I'll be off for like about a week, and that's what I'll be
Hmm.
doing. I'll definitely be looking to try to, catch, cocktails or drinks or something, just to catch up with some of my friends that I haven't had the opportunity to catch up with. Um, 'Cause like you said, you just don't never know what people are dealing with.
Yeah, you don't. You don't. And I think, like you said, that's why it's important to have those touch points, but it's also important for us to be vulnerable and open and honest
When we're going through
when we're
something.
going through things. But I think society has made mental health care, it's so taboo, especially amongst Black people, and specifically difficult for Black men. And it's like we can't keep that up. You can't keep saying that people are supposed to be strong, but then a lot of times strength is in being able to admit that you're weak. That
Absolutely.
makes you stronger. But when we have all these systems in place and these stereotypes, and everything is so stigmatized, that people actually believe that admitting that you're not okay makes you weak.
Right.
And it's like we
And
just
that's
can't
not the
we
case.
can't keep
Yes.
doing that. We can't keep having people feel hopeless because they're scared to reach out. They're scared to ask for help. Or if you're always the go-to person for everybody else, who are you going to?
Who are you supposed to go to? When you're the strong person. I just remember growing up and going through what I went through as a child. And I'm telling you, if I didn't have sports as my venue to help me to release that tension, or to just have an avenue get away from the house, or just to be able to have my mind focused on something outside of what was going on at home. I mean, I could have easily, I know for a fact I've been suicidal many times. I know I have. You know, I just got lucky enough where I got either distracted, or again, there was something else that was able to keep me, to keep me from going there.
Yeah. And I think a lot of times, it goes into, if you don't feel that there's anything to keep you from going there, then there's something that triggers that thought process and those feelings and the desire to end it and say, you know, I'm not worth it, life isn't worth it, or this world is better off without me. And so when you're in the middle of a crisis, you know, and from the sounds of it, the way he just disappeared, it makes it difficult. Like when you just up and leave.
And I don't know. I know, dealing with my husband, he has a very stressful job. And I know there are so many times where he's come home and he's been like, I just love coming home to peace. I just want to make sure that I come home to a peaceful home. I don't want to have to deal with all the foolishness that I deal with at work, on my job, or coaching, or something
Right.
like that. And if I don't have that at home, then that can create, a space. So I'm not saying nothing on his wife, but did she say something that might have been like, God bless, and she might not even realize she might have said something that might have totally just triggered him.
Yeah.
Because sometimes as wives, sometimes we can be ungrateful. We cannot appreciate them. I know I've been guilty of it, and then when he brings it to my attention, I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry, because that's definitely not my intention to come across that way, because I
Right.
appreciate what you do. Um, and so I know for men, I think they're definitely a little bit more sensitive, I think, to those type of things. Not that we aren't as women. I just think that God just, I just think he created us to just be able to handle more.
Well,
Um,
and not even that. I think he also created us, like, and society has made it unacceptable for men to have
to
a
be emotional.
brotherhood, to
Yeah.
be to show their emotions, to tell each other they love each other, to
Yeah.
check on each other. Like everything is about locker room talk. Like
Manning up.
yeah, and it's like that's not that's not realistic.
Yeah.
But everything,
Oh,
again, everything is so stigmatized when it comes
yes.
to
Oh
men.
my God,
And
made me bring up another topic that I saw this week too, where Smokey Norfolk had his 19-year-old son came up to him and just laid on him and just went to sleep. And so there were a lot of men that was like, oh my God, that is so weak, or that is so, they were just so negative,
yeah,
and I'm telling you right now, Cisco's Ty is 18 and he still hugs and kisses Ty, and that's probably never going to stop, because I think that men don't hug and kiss their sons enough. Um, but there were some men that, that did step up and was like, look, no, we got to stop this stigmatism that we always got to be hard, or that our sons can't just come and, beat a child and just lay in his dad's arms. Maybe there was just something going on, and all that son wanted to do was just, he saw his daddy and he was able to lay down in his daddy and fall asleep on his daddy's chest like a 2-year-old. And I thought it was the best thing since sliced bread, but there was lots of negativity that came with Smokey's post from men and maybe even women that thought that it wasn't healthy.
And again, this is what, like, where do y'all get off telling
Somebody
someone else how to handle?
handle
And
they too.
again, it irritates me to no end, because I think that coming out of a situation where I was suddenly in the throes with someone who didn't know how to handle his emotions, and it almost cost me my life. And so it's like, why do we keep this mindset going that somehow, in some way, being a man means that you are so strong and powerful that you don't show emotion, and
You
that
don't. Yeah.
if you do, like,
You're weak.
it's cool to be angry, it's cool to not care, it's cool, all these things are cool, but then when I show emotion or whatever it is, now you're calling me weak,
Weak. Yeah.
now I'm a sucker, or
Or I'm a
if
punk.
my son, or yeah, my son or my grandson or my husband, my boyfriend, whoever comes
It's soft. Yeah.
and has a moment of where they're tearful, there's something going on with them, right? I mean, I've seen posts where people are like, that's that gay-ish. What, like, what
Right.
do you, like, how is being able to let somebody know that there's something wrong with you, right? You're going through something.
Meaning that
How
gay.
does that
Yeah.
equate to homosexuality?
Right.
Where, what? So it's like we got all of these things again that further stigmatize, that further perpetuate the ridiculously ignorant stereotypes of what it is to be a man, let alone a black man. Like, what? Where are y'all getting this BS from? Where? I don't. It's just so incredibly ridiculous to me. Like,
I mean,
it's it is
people's
absolutely
opinions
ridiculous.
are starting to really get on my nerves. And I'm not saying that they're right. I'm not saying that I'm wrong. I'm not saying that I'm right. I'm not saying that they're wrong. It's just that people are mistake opinion for facts. And somehow that has gotten lost in translation. That, okay, just because you feel this way based off of your experiences doesn't mean that somebody else has to go through that or experience it the way that you experienced it. Right? It's like the situation where the it's a set of twins whose dad was an alcoholic. One was an alcoholic, one's not an alcoholic. One is an alcoholic because his dad was an alcoholic. The other is not an alcoholic because his dad was an alcoholic. It's about a choice and how you interpret, whatever your experiences are. But just because you experienced it that way doesn't mean that it's necessarily um, that's just your truth. But that doesn't necessarily mean you got to knock somebody else's um, experiences and how they deal with stuff and knock their truths. I don't know. I just don't get it. Okay, I'm done with that topic, sis.
It's
It's
deep.
ridiculous.
It's
It's
deep, and it. But again, and you see it also and now it's getting really, really ridiculous and horrible in our, like, youth sports, where, like, you telling your son, don't cry, suck it up, tape it, do this, do that, don't be upset, right? Don't be upset. But then you, as your ridiculous behind parent, you go out on the field and want to fight people over a messed up call.
right. And you cussing out the referees and the officials and stuff like that and acting a complete fool. And now you
But
want to
then
go
you
cuss out
want
the
your
coach because
child
of
to be
playing time
unemotional.
and all that type of stuff. But then you don't want but it's wrong for your child to show any type of emotion.
Listen, I'm over
Right.
it.
Right.
So over it.
Okay. Now that topic brings up this one. Here's another one I thought that was really, really good that came up this week was this guy talked about how a lot of people are negative towards some parents because they're hard on their kids, or they feel like they're living vicariously through their child.
Yes.
Okay. Well,
Now
this
you keep going. I forgot that I didn't bring my charger for my battery up, so I gotta run before the whole thing shuts off. But you keep going, and I'll join y'all in just a second.
okay. But anyway, one of the things that he talked about was the fact that maybe the parent went through something in their childhood where they wanted to get to the next level but didn't have the opportunity to go to the next level, or didn't have the resources to go to the next level, or didn't have a parent or coach to help take them to the next level, right? And so it's not that the parent is living vicariously through their child. It's just that they want their child to be able to have the opportunity that maybe they didn't have because they weren't in position, or because they didn't have the resources or the people in place to be able to get them to the next level. Does that make sense? Or kind of understand what I'm saying on that one? Anyway.
I'm back. I hear you.
Did you hear what I mean? I'm just saying, I just thought that was just a great perspective of talking about parents that are living vicariously through their child. It's not that they're living vicariously through their child. It's just that they want their child to be in a better position that maybe they were in, because maybe they made certain mistakes. Like we have a parent that was like, I didn't have the grades. And so now I'm really tough on my kids where grades are first, because yes, I was the number 2 player in the state of California, but I was not able to take advantage of any of those opportunities of playing D1 ball or going to the next level because I didn't have the grades. So now when I'm pushing my child, yes, they have the athletic ability, but I'm also pushing them academically as well, because I don't want them in the position that I was in and not be able to take advantage of any opportunities. So again, that's another stigmatism that I think people need to kind of rethink, evaluate. Now, don't get me wrong, there are some parents that are living vicariously through their child. They maybe weren't a good athlete, or maybe they, a lot of shoulda, coulda, wouldas, or whatever. And they're pushing their kid, and their kid maybe don't even want to play that sport, but they only play the sport because the parent is pushing them to play the sport.
Right.
And so these I think sometimes become the their daddies ended up being the coaches, and they really don't really know what the heck they're talking about, or maybe they were cut and didn't have the opportunity or didn't have the athletic ability and didn't have the opportunity to be able to go to the next level. And so now they're pushing their child to be that, or what they couldn't be. That does happen.
It does.
That does happen.
But I think that also happens outside of sports as well.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes. And you can talk about how there's very specific cultural norms where certain cultures push a certain lifestyle, right? So a lot of Asian cultures, like Chinese and Indian Asians, may push their children to be doctors, or involved in some sort of a you're literally going to be a doctor or rocket scientist, right? But that's the norm there. And so when you step outside of that norm, you begin to deal with some you can be outed by your family if your family is very strict in.
I met someone, one of my friends I went to school with. I met his wife. She's a doctor, and she said she experienced, and she's, I think, Indian, and she experienced something like that with her family. Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely. But again, I mean, I think with our culture, we just don't I don't think we value enough stuff. Like we don't do enough stuff to stick together. I'm not going to bring Dion up or whatever like that, but just even again, he was a perfect example of you know, he just got to come up. And if he wanted to give back to Jackson State, I wouldn't give back because of how you treated me. Dude,
Listen,
I just made
it's
five.
a whole mess
If
out
I was
there.
giving you half of my salary with 300,000. What make you think I wouldn't be sending none back now that I'm making 5 million? But look how you treat me about it though.
It's it's like sometimes folks can be their own worst enemy. You
Absolutely.
know,
And we can
you
be our
you're
own worst
you
enemy as a
create,
culture.
yeah, you create your own adversity for no reason.
Yes.
And why would you want to do that?
Right. Right.
Why would you want to ostracize a man that gave so much to you?
And I'm gonna tell you the worst one is what's his name? What's his name? Dr. Umar. What's his name?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Whatever his name is. He's been the
Yeah.
worst. I used to love him, but he's been the worst critic, because he was like, well, um, you know, he was supposed to give back. He was supposed to build this whole culture. And I'm thinking like, but at what extent? Like, do you have your school? And how many black folks do you have backing you? And how many celebrities have you gone and talked to help build what you said you were trying to build?
But my whole thing is, why is it up to one person? Why couldn't you say, hey, I see what you're trying to do. Let me help. Let me pull.
Absolutely.
I've got this going
I
on
got these
here. We're better
resources.
together. So let's
Yes.
combine our money. Let's combine our genius. Let's combine our efforts and let's create something literally for the culture, right? That no one else is doing.
Doing.
You can't do that. No, you can't. You know why? Because you probably ain't got the money. Anyway, either
Anyway,
that or you're so stingy with your money. You want to spend all your money on what you're doing so you can get all the accolades. But then you want to go off and criticize someone like Dr.
where
Dre,
somebody want to do
who
what they want
gives,
to do because they're not
who
doing what
gives
you want to do.
millions to USC, but oh, you're black. You should have given it to this school. Maybe that is the case, right? Maybe Dr. Dre shoulda, coulda, woulda given some millions to HBCUs.
But
But
but did
but,
Dr.
but
Dre
the,
know? Has he been educated to give to HBCUs? Because I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm recently again. Dion just brought the attention to HBCUs to a lot of us people.
mm-hmm. I do think that it is, and I'm saying this as an HBCU grad. There are a lot of people that know nothing about HBCU.
I know.
They literally have
No
no
idea
idea, none,
because they have
and
not been
it's
exposed.
not part of the education system, right?
Right.
So what we're educated on is, and this is a huge issue that I have with American education, right? We're educated on Black history as, hey, y'all slaves. That's when our lives started, right? Our lives started when we were brought over on slave ships. Now they're trying to revise that and say that we were, what did they call it? Voluntary servants. It's something crazy, girl. It's all Texas. Leave it to Texas. They're pushing to have, history revised and the wording revised so that
But we
white
got,
children
but
don't
we
feel
had,
guilty
right.
about their ancestors. But we still, as Black people, are shouldering a lot of the issues that um, that have come out of centuries of oppression. Um, but y'all don't want to hear about that because
It makes you feel
then
guilty.
that makes you feel a certain way, or it makes you feel like we can't just get over it, and when we gonna get over it, and you know, you don't want to talk about it because it's made up. It's critical race theory, which is hogwash. It doesn't exist. It shouldn't be taught. It's it's not it's not real. It's just so much stuff. And if you look at critical race theory is in a lot of ways, it's not saying that it's not necessarily teaching that black people have no means to work their way out. But it teaches the facts in a lot of ways. I'm not saying that there aren't flaws with it. I think that there are a lot of flaws with it. I also think there are a lot of flaws with a lot of other stuff that we're teaching in our system, right?
Our
Um,
whole system is jacked up.
Terrible,
Our whole system is jacked up.
horrible.
If truth be
Yeah,
told, okay, this podcast is supposed to be about sports, but if truth be told, if we go back to Rockefeller and how he totally changed the whole education system and our health system. Okay, he changed the education system where he was like, no, we want a bunch of people that are workers.
yes.
When before we was a bunch of when everybody was an entrepreneur, right?
Mhm.
So he changed everybody from being an entrepreneur to workers, and then he changed the health system, including the all of the schools, to where now they're went away from all holistic health, and now everything is all about the pharmaceutical companies and them getting paid.
Yep. And so now the politicians are in the pockets
Yes,
of
of
the pharmaceutical
pharmaceutical
companies,
companies.
and our healthcare system is not health care, it's actually disease care.
Yes,
It's not disease
and
prevention.
and and nothing is about curing. It's
No,
all about putting a
no,
band-aid on it and
no.
continuing to get
Oh, we
paid.
can't cure you.
You can't
We
cure
can't
anything.
cure you because if we cure you, then
Then now we
we
can't get
can't be
paid.
rich. Ooh, child.
Ooh, child.
It's a whole mess.
Ooh, child.
Is what it
So
is.
so then now we have so now we have the sports system, which is also flawed, because I do believe that the NFL and the NBA they're entertainment companies. They're not a sports company, and as because they're entertainment companies, they are rigged.
Yes.
The games are rigged. You just can't tell me that these referees aren't purposely making calls and missing calls that that totally impact the game.
Yeah. I feel like we saw that in Ty's game too.
Absolutely.
I just couldn't understand
Even,
it.
even,
I
even-
mean,
I
I
mean, even
really,
on the high school level at Tyson's game,
yeah.
it was clearly they did not want Frederick Douglass to win.
Nope. And it was funny because you saw it in if there was a missed call or a wrong call by the refs, they never once showed the replay on the
They
game.
would never show the replay
Never. Not one
ever.
time during the whole game. But as soon as Bowling Green made a play, scored a
They would show the
touchdown,
replay.
got a sack, whatever, any big plays, it was up on the jumbotron. And I'm
Absolutely
thinking like, that's not a coincidence. That's
not
very
at
intentional.
all. So you're like,
Crazy.
who's in the booth?
Like, oh my gosh.
You're like,
But
who's in the
again,
booth?
but
Yeah,
again, this really goes back to what I've always said that this sports is a I I wouldn't be surprised if one day there is an actual social construct specifically for sports, and
oh,
that
absolutely.
there's a sociological theory that ties in athletics with some of the other theories that already exist. It may be out there.
It may already be out
I'm
there.
bad.
I remember
I've not done
never done that
I've
research.
not done my sports sociology research, and
Okay, well, maybe
I
when you
need
get
to
your
hop on it.
PhD, that might be your research topic or whatever.
My what?
Your PhD.
Who's that?
your doctorate. When you go get your doctorate, maybe that could be
Child,
what your
listen.
topic will be. Your topic, and you can start doing the research on that, child. I'm just saying.
Look at me.
I'm just saying. I mean, how else are you going to be the commissioner of your own?
Wait a minute. Now you taking us and we about to go into a whole other podcast episode. We about to start season 2, episode 3 tonight.
I mean, how else? Because aren't most commissioners have their doctorate degree?
Yeah, they do.
Right.
A lot of them do. A lot of them, but I think things are changing with even with that. It's more acceptable to not necessarily have a PhD. It's okay to not have a PhD. And 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 I'm glad to see that. I'm glad that there's a combination of experience in education. Um, and I'm really glad to see a lot of the progress that's being made by women who are commissioners. Um, HBCU conferences. There are 5 HBCU conferences, and of those 5 HBCU conferences, 3 have Black women commissioners: the MEAC, the CIAA, and then mine, the Gulf Coast Athletic Conference.
But
And
that's a powerful position to be in,
it
sis.
is. It's powerful because of and I look at our commissioner, Dr. Kiki Baker Barnes, and
Mhm.
what she is accomplishing. And it's just like, it's mind blowing because you get to sit there, and sometimes I'm just like a fly on the wall, right?
Mhm.
And she may listen to this episode, but sometimes I call her at random times because I just want to hear her talk,
Right.
right? I, it's like, hey, how you doing? I was just calling to check on you, see if you needed anything.
And then
And
she'll
then
she'll and then she'll go in on something, won't she? Yeah.
she gets to talking and sharing her vision and her
Yeah.
ideas and her feelings about things. And I just be sitting up there like,
Yeah. Just soaking it in. Just soaking it in. Yes.
up there like
Yeah.
mental note, but
Yeah.
you know, and I think that her experiences again, she's educated out this world. She's a mass communications major. She got her master's and she went on and got her PhD, but it's her experiences that she shares that I sit there and I'm like, I get to I get to work with this woman.
Yeah.
And
I'm
so
just
the level of confidence that exudes from her spills out
up to
into
you.
other areas,
Yeah.
right? And so just being able to be in that sphere and that that environment
Oh yeah.
is mind blowing. And it's like, thank you, God,
Absolutely.
because of her character and her experiences and her vision, right? Now I get to not just me, but her team, her staff, we all have that flexibility to level up, to be creative, to take authority, and not in a way that puts anyone down, but to make decisions and to bring to the table ideas and things that could level us up as a conference.
Mm.
There is no crab in a barrel syndrome.
Oh
There
my
is no
goodness.
I feel
Yeah.
threatened or you can't do this, that, and the third because it needs to be. It's none of that. The better you do as my employee, the better I look, the better the conference look.
And a lot of people don't feel that, don't
They
aren't like that.
do
Even black, that some black women when they get in position, they're threatened.
for no
You know,
reason.
for no
We can
reason.
we
But
can all eat.
that's low self-esteem.
Yeah, we can all eat.
Let's all eat and let's all come up.
Yep,
Let me help you
absolutely.
to get to the next level. I remember
Yep.
even being a SAM. I was a school administration manager at the middle school. The principal called me and was like, "Terry, we got this job. It's got your name written all over it." I interviewed for it, went through the panel, was selected for it, and then she totally acted like I was going to take her job. I'm like, I don't have no type of principal certification. There's no way for me, and don't want it. So there was
Listen,
no way for me to take your job. So why not just use me to your advantage based off of my gifts and to make you look good? Like she ended up getting fired
that's
because
crazy.
she just wasn't doing stuff the right way and just wasn't handling things. I mean, she couldn't control the kids. I mean, I had more control over the kids than she did, and she was the principal. And it
That's
was
stupid.
crazy. And then she started being a hater instead of embracing and putting people better than you. A great leader puts people that have the gifts that you don't have
Exactly.
and surrounds you with people that are better than you or that contains the gifts that you don't have to enhance you to make you look good. But that's where we mess up is, sometimes as leaders, especially as Black women and sometimes even Black men, you always want people beneath you so that you can always be the man or so you can always be the woman. And that's where we mess up.
Shameful.
Yeah.
We didn't get to all of our topics today, but
Right.
I think it's still a good discussion. I'm sorry. This is why you gotta close out of Facebook. I was monitoring our live, and then somehow it stopped and started playing other videos. Okay.
Mm.
Sorry about that, y'all. Um but I think that that's why I love this podcast. I love our conversations because they everything ties back to sports anyways. You
Everything
can
ties right
always
back to it.
connect the dots. You can always connect themes and ideas, and we see what happens in society. We see it in sports, right? And
Hmm.
sports often mirror society in like the saying that art imitates life, or does life imitate art? You know, and so I think that we have to have these discussions because this is how we can keep our youth um, open and vulnerable and honest and create and develop in them strong and good character and help them to see that we need to develop our lives outside of sports. We need to develop our lives outside of the job that we have. Um, and how do we do that? You know,
Right.
how are we socializing our children?
Oh my God. Because can I speak on that real quick?
Yes.
So when we were at the country club, because we was at a country club, and you can tell that it is very exclusive, is all I'm gonna say. And one of the guys that was talking to Ty, he's like, Ty said yes, sir, to me at least 10 times, 10, 15 times during our conversation. And I was like, he better. You
Right.
know, he better
Hello.
say yes, sir, no, sir. Yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. But that's what we instill. And of course, everybody thinks that's an old way of thinking, old school way of thinking. But
Right.
I loved how Dion got on campus and he was like, well, guess what? I'm old school. You're going to say,
Yeah.
yes, sir, no, sir. You're going to, you're not going to wear a hat. You're not going to wear a hoodie. You're not going to have to, just a lot of old school way of things. And so sometimes, what my point was, when his coach was talking, the coach said, you know what? He's a great player, but he's even better person. Like he's
Yep.
just a great kid and a great person to be around. He's
Yep.
respectful, he's a leader. He has
Mhm.
other just natural things that just makes him a great person.
Yes.
Outside of being a fantastic athlete, he's a great person. And that just set up, of course they gave props to the parents, but it is a testament to the parents on how he was
It
raised.
is. Absolutely. I totally agree.
Because I told you, Ty has never, when I tell you, has never, ever, ever disrespected me as a stepmom.
But can we also
Ever.
talk about how Ty also has a 4.2 or 4.3 GPA?
It's like a 4.25 or something. So some say 4.3, 4.2. I don't know what it is. So I say 4.2 just on the safe side.
As a 3-sport athlete?
Two sport, baseball and football. He gave up basketball.
Okay. Still. Whatever.
But as a black male,
As a black male.
that's an elite athlete.
Yes.
That's huge. That's huge. And unheard of, because like you said, I know lots of kids that are really, really good and they end up falling through the cracks because they don't have the grades. And now they have to resort to, the junior college or the smaller schools that they don't, that they really don't want to because they don't have the grades. Right. Yeah. But when you have, but again, that was how from day one, grades was always important.
As it should. I mean,
and we did not settle with the expectation. Yes. We did not waver on what the expectation was.
Yep. And we used to be told that we weren't, my brother and I, like, if our grades didn't meet our parents' expectations, it didn't matter what the school said.
You can't play.
You weren't playing.
Absolutely. You didn't play.
I mean, and that never became an issue for us.
I remember missing a basketball game because I think I didn't do my chores or something at home or something. I did something wrong. And she's like, no, you can't play. Right? Guess what? I bet that didn't happen ever and 10 other time again. So my coach talked my mom into being like, okay, she can't play. I promise you she can't play, but can she be at the game? Because I want her to sit on the bench and watch the game.
Yep.
And that's exactly what happened. I sat my butt behind the coach on the bench. He would get mad at something and he'd turn around and look at me all side-eyed, and that's happened to us. That's happened to us before too, where we've had kids that were ineligible and we needed you in the game. We need you in the freaking game. You're letting your team down because you're not doing what you're supposed to do. That to me, that's the type of stuff that builds character.
Yeah.
And as coaches, you got to do that. I had girls that parents were crying because they were like, oh my God, my baby had never made honor roll. But with me, it was a requirement for you to make honor roll. That was my expectation. I said A's and B's ain't, C's and D's ain't good enough, or a 2.0, whatever the minimum is. That's not good enough. That's not getting ready to get it. I know they said that the 2.0 is what the minimum requirement. I said, but the minimum requirement is not good enough. You can show up to school every day and get a 2.0.
Right. Yep.
But no, the expectation is A's and B's.
Absolutely.
You want to get to the next level because now you're competing. So now if you got two players and now they're looking at, okay, well, he's really, really good. The talent level is maybe a little bit the same. What do we have to differentiate this athlete from this next athlete?
Yeah.
Oh, we got to worry about him being eligible? Oh, so he's already a 3.0 student? Okay, but if he's a 2.0 student, we might have some trouble.
Exactly.
We might not be able to trust him to stay academically eligible because you're already doing the minimum. You already got your level of expectation down here at the minimum. So now it gets to another level. When you get to college, it's another level. So if you're already struggling in high school, you're definitely getting ready to go struggle in college when you don't have nobody waking you up in the morning and forcing you to go to class and all that type of stuff.
It goes from parental accountability to self-accountability, and a lot of us don't have that.
Especially when it wasn't taught early on. Right? So that the level of discipline is to another level. But girl, we can talk about that all day on another segment. We over the time as you.
That's okay. All right. Who going? What's
Who gonna say something?
who gonna,
This
gonna
our
check me,
podcast.
boo?
Who gonna check me on it?
Wasn't that one of the housewives? Who gonna check me, boo?
Oh, I don't know. I don't watch none of that.
I don't either, but I just never seen the memes and the stuff.
Yeah, who gonna check me?
Yeah, who gonna check us? Listen, y'all. It's been a ride tonight. We thank you all so much for joining us, for tuning in. We saw some people hopping in and out. Y'all ain't leaving no comments though. But make sure that you guys are always checking in. That you tune in, that you like, share, comment. If you have an opinion, share it with us. If you have something to say, share it. If you have a question, ask it. That's what this is all about. So thank y'all so much for tuning in. I'm about to hop off of here. I'm hungry. And I have a salad, a delicious salad waiting on me. I can't wait to eat, y'all. I'm so hungry. But thank y'all so much for tuning in. We can't wait. Come back next week and do this all over again right here. Same time, same channels. You got us on Facebook and YouTube Live, right? Make sure that you're following us on Instagram at Hits and Heels. Like our Facebook page at Hits and Heels. Hop over to YouTube, subscribe to our channel so that every time we go live, you will get the notification. Just click on the little bell and tune in. All right. Thank you. We out.
Yeah. All right, sis. See you next week.
See you.